Alright, so let's talk about some...
Hey, what you...
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Citizens of Earth, this is your new master, Dr. Eggman Robotics speaking. 99% of the world is mine, including this puny Dissected show. Well, I'll show you dissections, as I will take over and do the talking. Forget about those clowns, and listen to the real truth.
And speaking of awesome ideas being a meaningless illusion that goes nowhere, let's talk Sonic Forces. So here we are, after almost 2 years of waiting since the announcement, plus another 2 years of waiting for the announcement, Sonic Forces is out.
That's right, and it's war, ladies and gentlemen, get ready, ha! Oh, and I'm not talking about the war between Eggman's army and Sonic's army. That's a joke. One of them is meaningless illusions and the other is helpless buffoons waiting for Sonic to rescue them. No, I'm talking about Sonic fan bases. I've been anticipating this battle ever since the original announcement of Mania Forces. And it took surprisingly long for the fan bases to start tearing each other apart. But here we go! Forces is under full assault, and I'm fighting back! I love this game! Well, okay, not love, but it's immensely entertaining to me anyway, and you're not taking that away from me, Mania nerds!
And let me be the first one to say, wow, this game is incredibly, okay-ish.
What? Oh, yeah, I mean, I get you. It's hard. Forces is all over the place, you know? I'm enjoying myself, but that doesn't quite mean the game's actually good. Just, well, let's start with gameplay. I think key to enjoying the gameplay in Forces is to understand two things. One, forget about the epic larger-than-life story. Despite the larger stakes and concepts, it still feels rather small scale. And might as well have been another Sonic Colors romp if it wasn't for the story concept. So don't expect anything big. The gameplay is really suited for just a small lighthearted adventure, which just happens to have a story way too big for its constructs. Second, this game is an arcade game first and foremost, and a platformer second. This is the main reason why I'm enjoying the game, and a lot of others aren't, I suppose. I always thought platforming is a means to an end in Sonic games and not the true focus. A lot of other people don't, or rather they demand Sonic to become a brainless platformer like Good Boys Mario and Yoshi. Instead, this game has way more the energy, attitude, and soul of Sega arcade games. Flashy, quick, filled with music, visuals, a spectacle, and occasionally very clumsy programming, but It's the fast food of video games, you know, which is nothing wrong with it. It's all about replayability. Easy to play, hard to master, that sort of thing. Because this arcade approach, the pace of this game is relentless. You keep moving and stuff keeps happening, which on one hand is great, it brings a ton of fun energy to the game. But on the other hand, it's also the reason why the whole Eggman took over the world concept falls flat. For that concept, I think I would have preferred a more RPG-type game or something like Sonic Adventure, something that with a little more quiet pace, so you can let the story events and atmosphere sink in. Now you're just relentlessly thrown from set piece to set piece, and the entire story flies by without having much of a chance to leave an impact. But we're still talking gameplay. Look, am I talking too much?
I haven't played the game yet, although I did look into what's going on. But yeah, I'll let you do the talking.
Okay. So it's less Generations and more Sonic Colors, which is kind of weird because Generations was more arcade style than Colors, but I guess it's like a hybrid between the two. And I hate Sonic Colors, yet I'm enjoying this one, so what's up? Have I gone crazy? And well, yes, I did, but never mind that. There's a few reasons why Forces works better for me. One, it keeps the eye on the prize and focuses firmly on high-speed action. Puzzles are bare minimum and truly optional. Wisps are only there for spectacle's sake or to give you insane superpowers, but the action remains focused on racing, platforming, dodging, fighting, pure action. And second, unlike Sonic Colors, it's doing a better job keeping the filler bonus stages separate from the main levels. Oh, and third, unlike Colors, you have classic Sonic and the Avatar character who are a lot slower than modern Sonic, making the platformer less cumbersome, because I don't know why they keep putting super fast boost Sonic into very small platformy blocky stages. He's not really made for that, but for some reason they keep doing that. Anyway, the Avatar and the classic Sonic are a lot more enjoyable to navigate through these structures than Boost Sonic is. Although yet again, the real platformy bits are the side missions mostly. The actual main stages are nice and wide and keep the speed going, so not much of a problem there. I'm probably crazy because everyone seems to hate Classic Sonic's controls. I had little to no issue with him, other than that it's hard for him to get the roll. So I stopped using that move, but maybe it's because everyone is desperately trying to control Classic Sonic just like he did in Mania Sonic. Well, I learned from experience that with Sonic Team, you should really let go of the past and just kind of go with the flow. Because consistency, why do you even expect there to be any? Classic Sonic works fine for me. Now, I would have preferred it if they kept Sonic Lost World's parkour stuff in here. Platforming would be a ton more fun and comfortable with the ability to run up walls or at least hang on to ledges. I mean, come on, even Sonic Adventure 2 managed this. Lost World Sonic was truly the best one suitable for platforming. Freaking ironic that that's the one modern Sonic game that showed zero interest in being a platform game and was mostly obsessed in pursuing stupid mini-games and puzzles. Really, the Sonic Forces level design should have gone to Sonic Colors. Arcade Spectacle would have suited perfectly with the lighthearted theme park theme. Sonic Colors level design should have gone to Sonic Lost World as a true platformer. Sonic Adventure or Unleashed level design should have gone to Forces to sell the impact of the story better. And Sonic Lost World's level design should have gone to hell. So, I enjoy the gameplay. Critics don't. So let's look into the complaints they have and see why they don't bother me as much, I guess. Enemies are too easy. Why, yes they are, especially if you break the game and stand still in places you're not supposed to. And I suppose the game is more designed to be a challenge, coming from getting a perfect run without getting hit at all, more so than just merely surviving, which is kinda easy. That said, yes, enemies are kinda pathetic, and it's kinda weird they picked a game about the big war to make them so pathetic, but there you go. However, there were plenty of other hazards in the levels. Game's linear! I've seen worse in Sonic. Plenty of routes. Sega did show off the worst levels in the previews. Weird because the levels they showed were rarely the first ones even, but ones halfway through the game, although I do have a hunch the levels were switched around later in development. Sonic levels used to have unique gimmicks, now it's just boost to win, ruining the franchise! Well, good news, I think most levels actually do have unique interactive level gimmicks to them, even physics-based. Hooray! The franchise is saved! Sorry, I'm just getting kind of sarcastic about all the franchise is saved and doomed stuff constantly. Anyway, it's super automatic. Yeah, I guess it is at points. Although I consider those parts transitional sections between gameplay heavy sections. Oh, also the game does actually let you skip some automatic sections, like this bit. In fact, you even get rewarded by a secret route if you skip the automatic part. So it's part of the challenge, I guess. DeviantArt! 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 Holy shit, does everyone hate the DeviantArt stuff? The game forces me to play as Sonic with a silly hat? No! The franchise is doomed! Curse you, DeviantArt! Look at those elitists, all thinking they're superior Ubermenschen because they're not those lowly autistic furry idiots from DeviantArt. Ha! They're just jealous of my superior character designing skills.
You right? You lost your mind?
Au contraire, I regained my mind. This game's burning my soul again.
At least the music is nice. Most of it. Most of the not classic Sonic music.
I like the Ghost soundtrack of classic Sonic. And the Chemical Plant Zone stage sounds like a DOS version of a Michael Jackson song. It's great.
The artwork of the levels is nice at least. Sure, it's clear they mostly recycled stuff from Generations and Lost World, but in a weird way that does help in tying the art styles together.
Yeah, I grew to love how they brought the Lost World and Generations style together. I even grew to appreciate Green Hill Zone. That's not an invitation to bring it back for the next game again, though, by the way.
So we're travelling all across the world. You'd think that makes for a great opportunity to revisit tons of locations from other Sonic games, especially Sonic Unleashed, that was also about travelling the world. But nope, you get Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone, and that's it. It's like Sonic Team were going to make a sequel to Generations, and gave up on the idea after 2 stages.
Well, it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation. People are getting sick of recycling levels. Although, yeah, if they at least pick new levels to recycle instead of being stuck at Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone forever, yeah, using Chanan or Shamar would have sold the entire world is in peril concept a bit better. In the end, it boils down to what this game is. It's just too low budget and too low ambition to tackle a concept this big to begin with. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure they took Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone mostly because they could recycle a lot of assets.
So this game makes a big deal about classic Sonic being from a different dimension this time, instead of from time. Right, so the Mania universe is the classic games, and the Forces universe is modern Sonic. Great, so why the hell are you only returning locations both from classic Sonic? Shouldn't you deliberately focus on modern Sonic levels to sell the idea of 2 dimensions better? Sure, there's a Metropolis and a Mystic Jungle, but the game puts little to no effort in making them resemble Grand Metropolis or Mystic Ruins, so I really doubt it's supposed to be the same locations.
Yeah, this game makes it really confusing, the whole dimension with humans, dimension without humans concept, especially since it's avoiding any reference or level to modern Sonic outside of Silver Shadow and the gang randomly walking around. I think the only modern Sonic getting a direct shout out is Sonic Heroes, with Seaside Hill being mentioned at one point. And there aren't any humans in the game, so maybe this is the classic universe. You know, just stop trying to understand. It's clear Sonic Team doesn't give a shit and is just making it up as they go along. Notice, for example, that South Island had been retconned out of existence. I already vaguely felt uncomfortable around Green Hill Zone no longer being part of the rest of South Island, that it had become its own abstract location disconnected from an actual geographical location and just being, remember Green Hill Zone? It's level in video game! And now here in Forest it shows that Green Hill Zone is part of the main continent and no longer on an island. In fact, judging the world map, Green Hill Zone is as big as Russia. In fact, it's kind of amusing to look at the world map. It resembles Europe and Asia, kinda, like a vaguely. But the zones take up the size of a full continent each, so the city is as big as the entirety of Europe. That's a giant city despite all the levels always taking place in this exact same street. It's great when Knuckles fears the crap in Green Hill Zone will go after them in the Chemical Plant Zone. When looking at the world map, the crap chase starts in Pakistan, while Chemical Plant Zone seems to be on Iceland. So I'd love to see the crap in Avatar running all that distance across the ocean. Speaking of those on-screen voiceovers, they're hilarious and disappointing. I kinda wish they did more interesting stuff with it, like Silver talking about what consequences Eggman taking over had. Would be nice to establish he's indeed from the future and emphasize the Eggman threat. But alas, instead, most of it is just dry military talk. And disappointing and kind of funny how it never actually relates to what you're actually doing. They're constantly talking about how we need to battle those Death Egg robots there in the background. Except you never really interact with any of them until this Metal Sonic battle. And yet they still praise you for being so amazing in battling that thing that we just stared at intensely, I guess. Or Knuckles letting us know we managed to destroy the Death Egg by just running on platforms and grabbing rings, I guess. Who knew that's the Death Egg's weakness? Sonic's amazing, isn't he, Luke?
He just never stops talking. He just constantly rambles about everything he sees. I mean, who's he talking to? I mean, does he think he's Deadpool or something? I just don't know. He just keeps talking on and on and on. And I was watching him just thinking, shut up, Sonic. Just shut up!
Well, to be fair, Sonic Colors did acknowledge Sonic loves talking to himself, but yeah, I agree there's a little bit too much talking during the levels. Although after a while I can tune it out, it's just atmosphere stuff mostly, and there are some moments where it's put to good use, particularly Shadow's virtual reality level and the first assault on Eggman City. But yeah, since we're already nitpicking on the story, I guess we better move to the general story before we lose ourselves in the many hilarious details of the game. It's super easy to nitpick to death, that's for sure. Tons of thingies. Did I like it? Is it good? Well, it's funny at least. It's the funniest Sonic game in decades. And all it took for Pon to have to make this game so funny is them stop making any jokes. Okay, let's... This game is not written by Ken Pontic and Warren Graff. It's by the Japanese staff, which you can tell by all the forced, awkward, and undeserved friendship speeches. So I think I owe an apology to Pontic and Graff. So you've proven yourself capable in writing a decent story in Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, and Sonic Forces is stumbling over many of the writing issues I've been considering results of your talents, but considering you're only the localization team now, I think it's clear the problems lay with Sonic Team themselves. So yeah, I'm letting you go as my punchbacks and scapegoats, at least for now. Okay, actually this game actually has several jokes. I kinda like them too. But the serious parts are funnier. Where to begin? Is the story good or bad? I love the game's concepts and direction of the characters. I hate how the game utilizes those ideas and the lack of flow it gives to the characters and what the characters are doing and why. But take, for example, Tails and Eggman's banter in Green Hill Zone. Normally, this would just be lame humor. But now, because there's actually context and stakes, the fact that Dr. Eggman, who just created the super virtual reality Superstone, conquered the planet and has several giant robots and spaceships under his command, and that Eggman is now super excited because he installed a stupid little chainsaw on his flying device. And he's even calling it brilliant and genius, and that's freaking hilarious to me. Probably not for intended reasons, but hey, I'll take it. Or here's another funny thing. In the Aqua Road level, Eggman has a hidden lab in the jungle, and the cast is constantly making comments about how well hidden Eggman's lab is, how it's impossible to get there and how to find it. You know, while it's surrounded by neon in the dark jungle and it's mostly guarded by wacky water slides that actually push the intruders directly to the entrance of the lab. See, it's that kind of nonsense that I absolutely love in Sonic games and always makes me happy. So yeah, whether this story is good or bad will rely on your mindset. There's three possibilities. Either you take it super straight and take it all on face value, and in which case you'll hate it. It's clumsy, dry, barely utilizes its concepts, not to mention it has a naughty word, torture. Or you take it as a dumb B-movie action story, in which case there's a lot of crazy set pieces, a rapid pace, and tons of stuff happening, so you'll have a good time. Or you look at it from a sarcastic Naked Gun style approach like I do, and then in that case this thing is the most hilarious comedy you'll see in ages. Basically, I would compare the story with Star Trek Into Darkness. If you're the type that found that movie frustrating, then this will be frustrating. If you found that a fun action movie, then this is a fun action movie game. And if you're still chuckling at the idea of Mr. Spock savagely punching out Khan on the flying car, then you'll have a great laugh with this game. So that's my general statements on the story's quality. Now, let's get into the nitpicking like the over-obsessive nerds that we are, because that's what we're all here for, right? Story's biggest sin is that it wastes a lot of potential. Dr. Eggman takes over the planet! Woo! Except we don't see anything. No Eggman holding dramatic speeches, no Eggman propaganda broadcasts, no RoboCop-style sarcastic commercials, no Eggman faces smeared all over every surface, no Eggman in an epic throne room barking out orders and sending out death squads. Nope, it's still regular, dumb idiot, small Eggman screwing around in Green Hill Zone with Orban and Cuba getting assaulted and beaten up by everyone who crosses his path. Yep, this is the culmination of the creativity sparked in Sega's writers when it comes to the concept of Eggman ruling the planet. Absolutely nothing different than from how he was in Colors. Never mind this being too comedic or this being too serious. In both the comedic and the serious departments, it's a failure. He's neither. He's dull. I mean, come on, even my shitty, dumb, Big the Cat cartoon I made make better use of Eggman trolling his subjects. And then there's the Phantom Ruby. It can create virtual realities, as in actual physical spaces you're in, and recreating other characters with the same skills and power, but without the soul. Now, twice in the game, it's used for great effect. First, when Shadow's trapped in a virtual reality world, he's talking to his friends Rouge and Omega, who suddenly say weird and disconcerting things, until the both of them go completely insane and start shouting Infinite's mantra of madness. This is a chilling and pretty awesome demonstration of how Infinite and Eggman could cause confusion and paranoia by impersonating the cast. This is used a second time in a fun level where the Freedom Fighters assault Eggman City. When Infinite activates the Phantom Ruby and makes them all hallucinate like crazy, they go upside down, walk up the sides of the buildings, there's demonic, terrifying fake Infinites smashing the ground to pieces, and all the members of the Resistance lose their minds and freak out. Again, this is spectacular stuff. Sadly, that's the only two times the Ruby is used in such an effective way. The rest of the game, all the writers can do with the Ruby is just go, hey, you see those awesome characters you love? Well, fuck you, they're all fake and don't really exist. Not sure why anyone thought that's exciting, clever, or interesting. It's mostly lame and boring, especially since characters are never used to play with people's minds, nor do we ever see the original characters react to their clones. Only Shadow interacts with a clone, and that's just kicking it to death with absolutely no thought or opinions on the matter. So yeah, it's a wasted opportunity. In the end, the damn thing just boils down that it can create an army of Shadow, Chaos, Metal, and Savick clones that can all be killed in one punch, so big whatever. Then there's a plot twist, and now Eggman has the Phantom Ruby instead of Infinite, and he's even more powerful with the Phantom Ruby. Oh no! So now Eggman uses his much more powerful virtual reality superpowers to create just twice as many stupid Savick clones that can be punched to death in one hit. Oh, and for those who had an issue with Sonic Adventure 2 leaving a gaping hole in the moon, well, take a load of this game.
The sun! It's gone!
Hooray! The sun is gone! I hope you put it back into place then. Huh. And I said I wouldn't be nitpicking, and here we go. It's so easy to nitpick this game. Oh, man. I'm not even scratching the surface. Yeah, Eggman takes over the world off-screen. Yeah, Chaos and Shadow are never playable boss characters. That's the obvious stuff, but man, there's layers and layers and layers of crazy stuff underneath. Look, Shadow is now evil, and Izuka wants us to wonder why. This is the big twist, the big mystery, the great secret you'll have to play this epic game for to figure out. What amazing things happened to Shadow to make him choose the side of evil. So, Luke, what's your theory?
Oh, I bet it's about Maria, the tragic family member that died in his past. Maybe Infinite can bring her back to life, or...
Nope, too complicated. Think more simple.
Oh, Gun betrayed Shadow, so he was forced to flee?
Too complicated and interesting. More simple and stupid.
Okay, Shadow's dark and edgy, and now loves Eggman and evil?
Still way too complex, deep and interesting. Make it more stupid and flat.
Sonic stole Shadow's chili dog?
Way too interesting and complex. No. Shadow is evil because he isn't. Fake illusion. And the real Shadow stands there, doing nothing particular. Wow, exciting! Now I can totally see why Yuzuka wants us to be excited about what's going on with Shadow. What an amazing payoff for this exciting mystery!
It's like Sega wanted to make Shadow fans happy by giving him a big mystery, but was scared that people hating Shadow would be turned off, so compensated by, doing this big load of nothing.
Personally, I think Sonic Forces does a lot of things right. Sure, it's not perfect, but this is one of the best Sonic stories that we've had in a while. It flows well, the tone is mostly consistent, and some of the characters are written pretty well. I think it's the character writing that I'm most pleased with. I'll just talk about a few that stood out to me. The first one being Sonic himself. He is less obnoxious, is more vulnerable again, but isn't completely boring. He's got that fun-loving spirit back, even if it's just a little bit. I think we're on the right track with his character here. I did think Tails' character, while not perfect, was a whole lot better than he was in Lost World. I would compare him to his Sonic Boom TV incarnation, which I actually like. Adorable and smart, just like the Tails that we came to know and love back in the old days. Although, I do get the feeling that Pontac and Graf have a hard time writing Tails, as they seem to write him differently in each game.
Yeah, I like its cute Tails again, although they're overcompensating into the other extreme. Problem is there's not enough contrast in the character beats. Like if he starts as the narcissistic superhuman he was in Lost World, but then Infinite's attack makes him lose his edge and break down, both Infinite's power and Tails' fall from grace would have had more punch. Now he's a coward right from the start, so him being broken up from Sonic's death doesn't feel like a big change from what he already was. And then he never really recovers and regains his full confidence afterwards either. From that point on, he remains dependent on Sonic until the end. So, technically I have no issues with the character arc. I like a more humble Tails shaken by the events, and after him being such a narcissistic little ass in Lost World, it was time he got knocked down a peg. But yeah, there's no flow to the character, no transitions. He's weak right from the start and remains that way until the end, and therefore the thing feels a little forced, and that's a shame, because I don't really want to hate this character arc.
Now as for Knuckles, oh my goodness, talk about major improvement. It's like he went from being idiot Boom Knuckles to competent and commanding Knuckles overnight. I would say this is a huge step forward with his character, and this fits him better than him being a stupid idiot for the sake of cheap comedy.
It's the same with Tails. I love the concept of the direction, but there's no flow, no transition. I wanted to see a dumber or more socially awkward loner Knuckles who slowly gets forced to take the role of the leader and grow into it. Because now, it's too much of a jump to go from completely useless ass to super army commander. It's this careless pinball-style writing where characters just violently pinball across different interpretations without even pretending there's a character transition in between. That is the reason why I keep calling modern Sonic so meta. This feels less like a natural new adventure of Knuckles, and more the writers just panicking after negative feedback and overcompensating with the character. Now just magically assume this is what Knuckles was always like. Okay. And again, I don't want to be angry at this, because I love Knuckles being more active, and more macho, and more rawr. But it's just so carelessly written.
Now moving on to Silver. As many know that Silver is my favorite character, I can honestly say that so far, I approve of his character in this game. There's still room for improvement, and I do have some critique on his character, but nothing that would warrant a rage fit on my part. Silver tries to pull the team together when Sonic is gone, much like he tried to do in Next Gen. So he's still got the determination to save the world no matter what happens, which is why he's my favorite character in the first place. Although granted, he has lack of context as to why he's even there, but that's a complaint for another time. No pun intended.
Well, the backgrounds of the characters like Omega, Silver and Knuckles were explained in the prologue comics. They do a very good job explaining how Knuckles went from a complete useless idiot with no social skills into the grand leader of the rebel army. He just magically decides he's going to lead a rebellion even before the actual rebellion exists. I'm surprised I don't have him just grab a script and take his position, because he already knows he's in a video game. The guy can't even lead a brass band.
I do like they had Silver mention in Records of the Future being unreliable and unclear. Smart of Ian Flint to immediately dispel people pointing out plot holes with that. But poor Silver. Goes back to the future just to see Broken again so he can go back. Reminds me of the joke I had in my Rivals 2 parody. Anyway, I guess if I was a writer, at this point, I'd just keep Silver in the present. The future changed so much that all his friends and family are completely unrecognizable for him at this point, probably anyway.
Character-wise, Silver's written decently, and I approve thus far. But there is one character I have an issue with. It's not the character himself, it's more the way he's used, and that character is Shadow. Don't get me wrong, I like Shadow, I really do. However, it's how he's used in the game that I see being a problem. I remember back in your Shadow Dissected video that you mentioned Shadow having a tendency to run the show when he's in a game, seemingly without even trying. And in games like Adventure 2 and Next Gen, he seems to be the cause of the conflict to begin with.
It's Gerald's roboting for SA2 and the King of Soliana for Next Gen that caused the trouble. Shadow just makes it more personal.
When you play Shadow's episode, you find out that Infinite became who he was because Shadow kicked his butt and told him he was weak. Now, that may seem in character for Shadow, but the idea is that Infinite became more powerful just to prove Shadow wrong and take him down. But Infinite loses interest in Shadow after their second meeting. So it makes the whole thing pointless. Heck, at least Mephiles pursued Shadow and tried to get him on his side while he spun his web of manipulation with the other characters. Infinite just loses interest in Shadow very early on. But yeah, the idea that Shadow was the one who started the whole Infinite rampage might make a few fans upset for the reasons I have mentioned. Just something to consider.
Yeah, well, can't have Sonic inspire someone to go evil. He's Super Jesus Chuck Norris. It's Eggman threatening the Zeddy all over again, with the dramatic scenes having no payoff. Me personally, I don't really give a fuck that Shadow steals the show. I don't think Sonic's really works as the causation of the plot. He's more like the cowboy riding into town saving the day. Shadow's the anti-hero, so he's the one dealing with his own consequences.
All in all, I like Sonic Forces. While it's not perfect by any means, I can say it's a step in the right direction. It was definitely worth my time, and I plan to go back and play it when I get the chance.
Remember, folks, if you want to know who the hell that was and why she appeared here, read her epic backstory in this prequel comic over here.
Another happy customer. So, Sonic Forces. I can talk and nitpick it for all eternity, and there's tons we didn't talk about, but there's just too much and so much, and that's great. Finally, a Sonic game that's really fun to talk about, and great to play. I'm baffled why this is reined in as the next Sonic 06 Rise of Lyric disaster. It seems people are just fighting against its nature, so obsessed in how Sonic games and platformers should be, that they keep fighting against the nature and the direction of this game, and utterly incapable of seeing what it's doing, and instead fixated on what it's not. It's a thrill ride, it's about mastery, replaying the levels over and over to get all the items, the best scores. It's fast and quick and energetic and so much excitement. Although, I suppose I'm guilty of the same thing toward games like Sonic Colors. I'm sure people who love that game would have the same train of thought. People have different tastes, and this is mine. The funniest thing is, I really love how Sonic is written in this game. A combination of his Sonic Adventure cheesy happy self, and a little bit of the snarky modern Sonic. Best of both worlds. After him being so dull and bored and detached and sarcastic for all these years, I love thinking that it's Sonic being tortured for 6 months that it took to make Sonic act more upbeat and happy again. Once again, it reminds me of a joke from a parody I made, that Sonic only likes people when they want to murder him. Everything about this game just reminds me of my parodies. I feel revitalized again. The story and the game are so crazy, I love it. It just inspires me, fills me with the need to animate all the plot holes. I have cartoons to make. I don't even know why I'm still sitting here yapping. I need to get those ideas out right now. You, random person, you take over for me.
Hi. How does this dissected thing go? Sonic Forces! The animation seems a bit lazy to me. Sonic is tortured, but immediately acts fine. It's not very convincing that Sonic's been stuck there for so long. Same with Tails losing it. It lacks power. And those robots never seem to do anything in the background. It's like they're just dancing. I like making my own characters. So many options. It's fun to play the game. It's really fast and disorientating sometimes. The game looks more simple than Mania, and there are sometimes little scenes like this where I can catch my breath. I'm fine. It looks pretty, but yeah, very lazy animation.
Camera import cable, where is it? Where's the camera import cable? Where's my camera import cable? I can't start animating before I can make reference material. Out of the way, where is it? How do I always lose everything?
So, I heard you're going to be marrying this buffoonish git next year, right?
Yes. I'm leaving again. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye indeed. Man, we still barely covered everything Forces has to offer in terms of, well, things. It's so much. It's a gift that keeps on giving. But regardless, I didn't want to go that deeply into the matter yet anyway, because I think comparing Forces and Mania together will be fascinating. So let's wait for the sales results for a bit and come back later on them.
Well, enough ranting for now. Best to gather our thoughts now and have a more complete talk about Mania and Forces in the future.
Exactly. But this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we've all been waiting for. Sonic Mania versus Sonic Forces at last. For decades, debates have raged over the internet over what will save the franchise or what will doom the franchise. And now, we have the representatives of those philosophies in a battle to the death. Yes, Sonic Mania. All that matters is gameplay, no story. If only Sonic is 2D with physics, then the franchise is saved! Sonic Forces! Oh no! Sonic has Shadow in it, and a story that isn't qualified as cure for delayed sleep phase disorder. The franchise is doomed! Classic Sonic 2D physics will save the franchise versus simplified dumb story-driven spectacle explosive Sonic that will doom the franchise, battling each other in a battle to the Sega bankruptcy. Who will win? It's fascinating to see the viewer reviews are on an entirely different level than the professional reviews. Is this it? The glorious gamer race rebelling against the stuck-up, disconnected elite reviewers in their ivory towers? Our true opinion finally coming out? Or is it just a fringe group of superfans tilting the scales? I don't know. But we're having a battle that will prove for once and for all if Sonic with balls can still have a place in this world where it's nothing but spineless, self-aware, meta, self-hatred Sonic. Which I'm frankly quite sick of. Take your bets. This is going to be exciting. Get ready for battle, ladies and gentlemen. This will be the showdown of a lifetime. See y'all next time, ladies and gentlemen. And oh, before we leave, I accidentally pre-ordered a Nintendo Switch copy of Sonic Forces. I don't have a Nintendo Switch. So I was going to hold a contest to see who of you, my dear audience, could win my copy, but I can't think of a contest. So, he or she that can come up with a contest that would be interesting as a contest to win this game, wins this game. Yeah. Bye.